episode of Mr. Ashodi's Snapchat Science. Now today what we're going to be looking at is kidney dialysis versus kidney transplant. Now by the end of this video, we want to 1. Explain how dialysis and transplant can overcome kidney failure. We then want to go on to analyse the similarities between a kidney dialysis machine, and normal kidney function. And then after that, we want to evaluate the advantages and disadvantages of both kidney dialysis and the kidney transplant. So let's get right into it. Now, don't forget in our last video, we said the role of the kidneys was to clean the blood. The kidneys need to get rid of the waste products in the blood. Now, don't forget that waste product is known as urea. Urea is made in the liver when excess amino acids are broken down, and that's transported to the kidneys to be passed out the body, yes, in the form of urine, alright? So, but what happens if there is an issue with the kidneys? How can these kidneys get sort of kidney failure? So let's look at it. So there are a few conditions that you could have. You could have something, for example, to do with kidney stones, or you could have kidney failure to do with not getting in the right diet, etc. Right? But if you do have kidney failure, what can a person do, and what are really their options? Now, a person has 2 options. You can either go for kidney dialysis and a kidney transplant. Don't forget, a person can live a normal life with 1 kidney. However, if they have failure in both kidneys, they're going to need to opt for one of these options, all right? And let's look at what the details of these options can actually be. So, in a kidney dialysis machine essentially works to replace the function of the kidneys. So the kidneys attempt to clean the blood. The kidney dialysis machine attempts to clean the blood. The only difference is the kidney dialysis machine will take the blood out of the body, which we're going to look at in a minute, clean the blood, and pass that blood back into the body. So you have a circulation and a constant circulation of clean blood being, dirty blood being cleaned, and passed back into the blood. Now let's look at the actual details of how a kidney dialysis machine actually works. Now, first of all, I'm going to show you what happens is, we get, the machine is hooked up to an artery, and the dirty blood, so the blood that contains a very high concentration of the waste product, urea, is passed through the dialysis machine. Now, what happens is, the blood is removed, cleaned, passed through the dialysis machine, urea is taken out, and the clean blood is then passed back into an artery, alright? However, let's look at the actual details. How do we actually get rid of this urea, So, in a dialysis machine, as it takes through the blood, it contains a semi-permeable membrane. And this semi-permeable membrane is in between the blood, the person's normal blood, and something in a dialysis machine known as dialysis fluid. Now, this dialysis fluid contains no urea. It contains the same concentration of glucose and ions as the blood. So what are we looking at here? We're looking at the process of diffusion. We've now created a concentration gradient. So because there's now a high concentration of urea inside the blood, urea will pass from the blood into the dialysis fluid, constantly creating that concentration gradient. In order to keep that concentration gradient steep, we need to get rid of that urea, pump new fluid in, so that urea from the blood, as it comes out of the body, it passes through the machine, and urea diffuses out. Now, we don't want the glucose or the ions to diffuse out, hence why we've kept the exact same conditions in the dialysis fluid as in the blood, We want there to be no net movement. Don't forget there is still movement, but the overall net gain is 0, So that's how the function of a dialysis machine works. It aims to take out urea, and keep in the sugars, etc. So let's look at how it works. All of the urea needs to be passed out, Don't forget urea is a product that needs to be taken out, alright? And it works by cleaning the blood. And this now cleaned blood that's minus urea, is then passed back into the body. Alright? So, there are a few issues with a kidney dialysis machine. The first thing is, each treatment lasts about 4 to 5 hours. Now, can you imagine being this patient, being hooked up to a kidney dialysis machine 4 to 5 hours? It is a matter of life and death, so you have to do it, 4 to 5 hours for 1 treatment, and you have to do up to 3 treatments a week, So it harms the person's lifestyle. The everyday lifestyle of the person is harmed, So dialysis isn't actually the ideal scenario in terms of treating kidney failure or treating kidney disease, Now, there are 2 types of dialysis. You've got hemodialysis, and this is the treatment we're just speaking about, happens in a hospital. You've got to be there for 4 to 5 hours. But we've also got peritoneal dialysis. And if you see this in your exam, peritoneal dialysis is actually talking about dialysis to do with when the person takes the machine home, but they have to regulate their own treatments between them and their family to regulate their own treatment. Okay? Now, a better option is a kidney transplant. If you can, okay, these kidney transplants are taken from either a dead person or a person who doesn't require one of their kidneys. That person who's donating a kidney must obviously have one working kidney for themselves, okay? Now, let's look at the positives and negatives of a kidney transplant. Now, a kidney transplant, if we maintain this image for a while, a kidney transplant will allow you to have a working kidney. You don't have to be hooked up to a dialysis machine. You don't have to be in hospital for 4 to 5 hours 3 times a week, okay? So you can go about your everyday life. However, don't forget, guys, thinking about back to our cells, all right? If somebody gives you a new organ, that organ contains tissues, and those tissues contain cells. Every single cell has something known as an antigen on it, which you guys would have previously studied. Now, the antigens on the donor's cells could be recognized as foreign by the recipient's body. And if that happens, the recipient's body, the recipient's immune system will attack those cells because they see them as foreign invaders and they think this is a threat, we need to get rid of them. So transplant is not without its flaws, okay? A kidney transplant also we have to go through certain precautions in order to make sure kidney transplant goes smoothly. Now the first thing we can do is tissue type, okay? We can get someone with similar type tissue in order to ensure that there's at least the least chance possible that the person's body will recognize and attack the invading cells because of the antigens, okay? That's the first thing, tissue typing. The second thing is, anybody that gets a kidney transplant has to take immunosuppressant drugs for the rest of their lives. Now, immunosuppressant drugs are, it says it in the words, immuno, so the immune system, suppressant, suppress, bring down. So immunosuppressant drugs bring down the action of the immune system. So they're likely to limit the possibility of there being rejection by the donor's body. Okay? Now, even with these two types of precautions, a normal donated kidney only lasts about 8 to 9 years. So in 8 to 9 years, you're then possibly going to have to go through the same process again. You're either going to have to, one, go and be hooked up to kidney dialysis, or you're going to have to try and source another kidney from somewhere, okay, if you've got a family member or two with a spare kidney willing to give out, okay? So, let's compare, and this is a really big thing now, guys, the advantages and disadvantages of both kidney transplants and kidney dialysis. Now, the first thing, if we look at kidney transplant, and the advantages is, okay, the patient can lead a normal lifestyle, okay, without having to be hooked up to a machine. They don't really have to watch what they eat or drink, okay. It is cheaper overall than dialysis for the National Health Services, okay. However, there are some disadvantages. As we said before, the person must take immunosuppressant drugs for the rest of their life, okay. But this can also increase the risk of infection because their immune system's decreased, okay. They're more likely to get infections, etc. So that's a disadvantage, okay. There are a shortage of organ donors, unfortunately, or it could be a good thing. We don't have people dropping dead giving kidneys every now and then. So there are a shortage. There's not a kidney for everybody that's waiting for a transplant. So you could wait a long time for a kidney. Okay, and in the meantime, you have to be on kidney dialysis. All right? The kidney only lasts 8 to 9 years. So in 8 to 9 years, you're possibly going to have to go through the same treatment again, okay, if not kidney dialysis. All right, and obviously any operation, okay, any operation where the body is cut and open, it carries its own risk of splitting blood vessels, even infection, etc. Now let's look at kidney dialysis, the positives and negatives of kidney dialysis. Now, kidney dialysis is available to all kidney patients with kidney disease. There's no shortage. However, there is also no need for immunosuppressant drugs. So that's an advantage. Those are two advantages of kidney dialysis. However, a disadvantage of kidney dialysis is that the patients must limit their salt and protein intake between dialysis sessions. Don't forget, this person could have 3 sessions a week, each lasting 4 to 5 sessions. So you've really got to watch your diet when you're on kidney dialysis. Right? Then it's also expensive for the National Health Service to constantly be doing this treatment, getting people in 4 to 5 hours, 3 times a week. It's expensive, okay? And the last disadvantage, which we've mentioned time and time again in this video, okay, it's regular sessions that need to happen. Whether it's hemodialysis or peritoneal dialysis at home, it needs to happen regularly. So guys, Hopefully by the end of the video, okay, you'll be able to explain, all right, the similarities and differences between kidney dialysis and normal kidney function. And the main thing is we want to compare the advantages and disadvantages of kidney dialysis and a kidney transplant. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe and revise. Mr. Ashodi, signing out.